It looks like you took someone else's credit card cleverly. You are a dull man, and I don't trust you. Along with me, you are leaving this project. It is embarrassing to have someone like you represent our business." The remarks made by the president's daughter were completely irrational, biased, and rife with bigotry and disdain. Something inside of me blew up all of a sudden. I perceive embarrassment. That's when I'll quit from this company and relinquish my position as project manager. The two villains only grinned with glee, which drove me to breaking point. Leave no indication that you are a dull man in our company. You would damage our reputation. As soon as possible, tidy up everything and leave. With these harsh last remarks, she shoved me out of her way. I made the decision to delete all evidence of myself at that very time. That's when I decided to make these corrupt bastards see the real consequences. My name is Grant. I reached 30 this year, just an ordinary person with a white-collar job. Today, I want to talk about how a simple guy like myself can undergo a significant mental shift. I was not gifted, nor very brilliant as a child, having been raised in the suburbs of New York. I was a member of the masses since elementary school. In a class full of ordinary students, I was the kind of kid who kind of faded into the background. Sports days were really difficult for me because I wasn't athletic and my grades were consistently below average. Being an average kid, I joined the basketball team when I went to middle school, since it was the most popular club. I have no happy recollections of any competitions because our school squad was weak and we frequently lost games. My academic performance hadn't improved by the 9th grade, and I was still getting bad grades, so I was unable to get into the public high school of my choice. I reluctantly went to a less demanding private secondary school. My mother would remind me, quite angrily, that we weren't exactly wealthy and that I'm paying a lot for you to attend this private school. The experience of not being accepted into my first-choice high school left me severely devastated. After that, I developed into a chilly, resigned teenager with a nihilistic outlook, believing that no matter how hard I tried, it would still be in vain. I wasn't much into studying in high school. I wasted my high school years away playing video games and hanging out with buddies. As I finished high school, the moment arrived to make decisions about my future. I immediately gave up on the thought of attending college, believing that I would most likely fail, even at an institution with a low ranking. After high school, I made the decision to start working. I didn't do well when I applied to a lot of companies, including those in the federal service. I was able to get employment at Ace Trading, a sizable corporation, for whatever reason. With the exception of fieldwork and warehouse logistics, practically every desk-bound employee at this corporation had a college degree. There were very older middle-aged men and women among the few recent high school grads. I was put in charge of the department that oversaw the company's internal systems, and Sam, the department head, who was essentially treated like a king in the workplace, was my immediate boss. Sam was tall, attractive, and descended from an affluent family. He was an elite with a degree from a prominent university. But Sam was a dreadful character. Sam has been severely criticizing me for my lack of formal education ever since I moved here. Are you unable of managing something this basic? Typical traits of the uninformed. You useless wreck aren't even a true value to our team. I had to deal with Sam's insults on a daily basis. Despite my disgust for Sam's suffering and mistreatment, I persuaded myself, well, I'm lowly educated, maybe it's true that I'm useless. I didn't think highly of myself in comparison to other people, especially when I didn't get into high school. That was why all I could do, when Sam chastised me, was feign weakness. Sam's insults at me increased as a result of his weak attitude, which only made him angrier. As these gloomy days stretched on, I completed my 5th year with the organization. It was at this point that Sam started to harass really intensely. Looking back, I believe he was genuinely attempting to drain me emotionally and physically in order to get me to leave the organization. Sam brought me in at the start of the 5th fiscal year and immediately threw a ton of work at me. The amount of work I had to manage was certainly 5 times larger than previously. It also featured assignments in areas where my knowledge was lacking. You have been abusing this place for the past 5 years. No more indulgences. Finish this assignment by the deadline, or you risk losing your job. With all of his cynicism, Sam was laying a wicked trap to get rid of me. I was dumbfounded and could come up with nothing more than an incoherent, "I'll try my best." For the first time in my life, at this point, I was overcome with a strong sense of urgency that I had to take action. Driven by a wrath akin to my resentment of my previous inadequacies, I was determined to show Sam, who always treated me with contempt, that I was wrong. I pondered about tactics and looked up every potential solution online into the wee hours of the night. In the end, I realized that this problem could be mainly resolved by utilizing a programming technique for which I lacked any knowledge. Furthermore, it might save a ton of time. Even though the programming was difficult, I could become a respected employee and accomplish a lot for my company if I could master it. I arrived at these findings with the express belief that every crisis presents an opportunity. I had never really thrown myself into learning anything until now, but now I decided to commit my entire life to this endeavor. I could take no more of being dismissed, made fun of, or insulted. Sometimes, frustration is a strong motivator to do action. I went to intensive programming classes after work and kept up my rigorous study schedule at home, sleeping little. My primary motive for learning programming at first was to reduce my burden, but as I gained more knowledge, I grew to love it. I was therefore able to handle the added workload with easily, and many people complimented me on the high caliber of my work. For the first time in my 5 years as a clueless, incompetent worker, I was appreciated and acknowledged by my coworkers. My passion for studying programming expanded, and I made great progress in my abilities. As a result, my status inside the organization quickly improved. To my own surprise, I rose to prominence and began to draw interest from both inside and beyond the organization. A multinational competitor even made me a hefty headhunting offer because of my programming talents and excellent work. My poor self-esteem was gradually restored as I was acknowledged and valued. It was amazing how the downward spiral of negativity that had dogged my professional life reversed itself. My ability to communicate with coworkers improved as a result of my increased initiative at work. Workers who had once expressed their overt dislike for me now respected me. After attracting the attention of higher-ups, I was given the responsibility of overseeing significant, well-known initiatives for the organization. My life seemed to have been abruptly altered in ways I could never have imagined. I was quickly becoming well-known, and people in the company started praising me. How on earth could Grant, who is so capable, have been performing below par all this time? It's peculiar. It appears that Sam, Grant's direct employer, was the only reason Grant remained silent. Was Sam attempting to undermine Grant out of jealousy for his skills? Whispers among the staff spread that Sam had been mistreating me, and that was why I hadn't been able to succeed up to this point. Sam eventually heard about these rumors. It did not sit well with him at all that I was successful, and that I was highly regarded. "You stupid, uneducated fool, just watch. Don't get arrogant." Sam seemed to be formulating a terrible scheme. By now, I was well known for developing a system that greatly streamlined operations in most divisions. I pushed myself too hard and ended up becoming sick because I was delighted to be appreciated and to make everyone happy. I had to miss a couple of days of work. After I rested for a few days, I felt better. When I was well enough to go back to work, I went to a meeting regarding a large project that involved multiple other companies. Unexpectedly, Rachel Turner, the daughter of the family that owned Ace Trading, showed up for the inspection. Despite being big enough to be considered a major corporation, Ace Trading remained a family-owned business with a succession plan in place and had never gone public. Rachel's grandpa was the chairman and her father, Mr. Turner, was the president. It was promised that Rachel, The executive vice president at the moment would be the future president. Rachel approached me quickly after the meeting and asked, "So you're Grant? If you could please don't go too far in acting as though you speak for us. In any case, please visit the president's office." I was abruptly and icily called upon. It was undoubtedly not a promising indication. The president's daughter, Rachel, seemed to have disliked me for some reason. Rachel was waiting at the president's desk when I arrived as directed, but Mr. Turner was not present. To my surprise, there was a smug smile on the person standing next to the president's chair, Sam, my manager. My immediate amazement evaporated as Rachel went on a diatribe. "Grant, Sam here has told me a lot about you. I've heard you have been sluggish till yesterday. It appears that you have been really hurting the business." I didn't know why Rachel was going after me, but that's when it all clicked for me. She must have been fed all the bad things Sam had said about me and my prior mistakes. Sam gave me an involuntary glare, but all he could muster was a sarcastic smirk. Rachel continued, obviously annoyed by my lack of response. "Grant, it appears that you have very little schooling beyond high school. How a bottom feeder who never attended college could work for our company is beyond me. We cannot entrust this crucial project to someone with your inadequate academic level." Her crude comments stunned me so much that I was at a loss for words. Excuse me, but I was appointed as the project manager based solely on my track record in programming. I said with composure. However, this just served to heighten Rachel's rage as she arched her eyebrows. "You had to be lying about this assessment. You must have cleverly taken credit from someone else. You are a dull man, and I don't trust you. You're going to be leaving this project. It is embarrassing to have someone like you represent us." Something in me blew up when I saw a degree of contempt and scorn I hadn't felt in a long time. Shame? All right. I get it. Afterwards, I'll quit from this company and give up my position as project manager. I was at last at my breaking point. I wanted to establish myself in this organization, but I was not motivated to work under a future president like this one. That's ideal. "Sam, isn't it true that we don't need someone like you here?" Smugly, Rachel added. "Yes, in fact." Rachel's voice struck me like a death blow as I turned to leave the president's office, giving them one last look of disdain. "Be careful not to leave any signs of your presence here. You would reflect poorly on our business. Take care of everything, then leave." I hurriedly left the president's office without answering. I completed my final task on my computer after getting to my desk. I turned off the internal system for which I was granted a patent and erased every file I had made. I vacated my workstation and packed away my personal items before permanently leaving the company. I was being scouted by an international competitor, which I joined after quitting Ace Trading. I received fantastic treatment at my new work. My pay had increased tenfold, along with hefty performance bonuses. The flexibility to work as I wanted thrilled me more than the money benefits. Sam's nasty, malevolent bosses didn't exist. Meetings promptly addressed my ideas, and if they were favorably received, they were given the go-ahead to become new projects right away. I have never liked my programming work as much as I have since making the move. The right move was, in fact, to leave Ace Trading. Paradoxically, I am appreciative of Rachel and Sam. After I departed, in accordance with Rachel's closing remarks, what became of AIST Trading? The business fell apart as a result of my deletion of the system. It's fine if you drive me out, but if you erase my traces, no one will be able to use the system I developed. I told Rachel and Sam as I was leaving because I had foreseen this. Rachel and Sam dismissed it with a sneer, though. No, it's quite practical. Let's get rid of the pitiful system you created. It has always annoyed me. We'll just work on making one better. I remarked, "Oh, really?" Even after I warned them out of kindness, they responded with such ingratitude. "I won't know about it, so please do as you please and don't come crying to me afterward." And with that ultimatum, I quit the company. But then there was total fear in every workplace in the corporation. It was only fitting that the fundamental internal system would fail and be replaced with a subpar, less convenient one. Employee stress and discontent mounted at every turn, and they deluged Rachel and Sam with grievances. This is the result of you pushing Grant away. It's completely broken. Take action. Return Grant or offer an apology to him so we can utilize his system. The workers were so enraged that they almost attacked Rachel and Sam, but they didn't back down. How are we able to accomplish something so dehumanizing? Your task is to figure it out for yourself. There's no way we're going to bring Grant back because he's not required here. Just get used to the new system and adapt. When they received responses as calloused and false, the staff lost their cool. Workers started quitting one by one, unable to put up with a company that only expected self-help from its employees, which led to an unusual predicament. That cycle never ended once it got going. The corporation initially tried using temp agencies to make up for the worker deficit, but that soon reached a limit, and departments within the company started to struggle with day-to-day operations. Work quality suffered greatly, and there were gaps in transactions and other problems with credibility. Consequently, AIST Trading's reputation suffered greatly, and its established business associates terminated their agreements one after another. Insolvency resulted from the financial statements' persistently large operational deficits. AIST Trading eventually filed for bankruptcy. Following the bankruptcy, AIST Trading was acquired by the international firm I joined, and the hardworking staff members were kept on board under corporate restructuring laws. Rachel and the previous management family were removed, though, and Sam Hierophant was written off in full. It's interesting that Sam didn't come ask for my assistance till then. Trapped and abandoned, he turned to me, his alleged adversary, in a desperate attempt to get assistance. In the past, I gave you a lot of attention. Could you please assist me solve things? Sam's boldness shocked me to no end. You looked after me? Do you mean that you made fun of me and tormented me? If I could make any kind of appeal to the higher authorities, it would be to tell them not to recruit someone as dishonest and cruel as you. Sam was upset at what I had said, so he started to pretend to throw his phone, but he stopped midway and walked away in despair. I learned through rumors that Sam's wife briefly supported their lifestyle by working in the nightlife sector, but that didn't last long. They eventually had to relocate to Connecticut after having to sell their opulent condo close to central New York. They could no longer afford the tuition, so his daughter, who had been attending an elite private elementary school, was moved to a public school in Connecticut. Unrelated to his prior profession, Sam is currently working as a salesperson for a Connecticut real estate company. This was to be expected, of course, from someone who had only known how to advance by deception. Now, not only is Sam going through adversity, but his whole family is being exposed to the harsh facts of life. The proprietors of the company, the Turner family, have likewise declined. After selling their opulent New York residences, Rachel and her father now reside in peace and quiet in a San Diego suburb. Though it took some time, it was a fitting conclusion for such depraved individuals. As they say, what goes around comes around. Heaven's net is wide and lets nothing through. As for my current circumstances, I am well known in the sector because of my consistent successes at the international corporation I joined. I became self-sufficient after leveling up and creating new systems and apps since the royalties by themselves gave me enough confidence. I eventually launched my own business last year. I now manage my own company. Though difficult at times, each day is rewarding and pleasurable. It is certainly a blessing to be able to work with excitement every day. I regret my lackadaisical and half-hearted teenage years after my failure when I reflect on it in retrospect. However, I also understand that those failures are exactly what have brought me to this point.